Hello! Thank you so much for joining me today for virtual story time with the Christian County Library. My name is Miss Dana and I'm the Director of Youth Services for the Christian County Library District. You may have seen me at Nixa or Ozark or Clever doing story times, Homeschoolers Connect, a teen program or two. I'm also in the community quite a bit at daycares and preschools, and then a lot of elementary schools for adopt-a-class visits with specific grades. Today, I'm going to be reading you a fun story called Snakes on the Job by Kathryn Dennis. And we're also going to be doing a really fun song and activity called Herman the Worm. But first, we need to get ready to read our book. In this book, there's a repeating phrase that if you would like to join in with, you're welcome to. That phrase is called, it says hiss, shh. So again, that's hiss, shh. The first part is the sound that a snake makes, hiss, and at the end is shh. And we're going to say hiss, shh, goes the sound of the brakes. Because in this book, the snakes are building something. Let's get started with Snakes on the Job by Kathryn Dennis. Off to work the snakes will go. There's a couple snakes there. Let's try and count them with me? I love to count things. Let's see, let's start on this side. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 snakes so far. They slide into their trucks and roll out slow. Now there are a lot of different trucks and construction equipment on that page. But don't worry about looking at them all right now. We'll see them again. A digger clears the way as a bulldozer shoves the dirt to one side. Dump trucks are piled high. Hiss, shh, goes the sound of the brakes. Do you think that is the snakes hissing or the brakes making their sound? A row of delivery trucks keeps snakes moving at a steady pace. But these trucks back here have another word on them, and that word is playtime. I wonder what they're building. A crane lifts large objects and swings them into place. Let's say our repeating phrase. Hiss, shh, goes the sound of the brakes. A food truck arrives and the snakes line up for lunch. And it says on the food truck, today's special is ant tacos. Would you ever eat ant tacos? Tacos made of ants? That sounds a little strange, but I'm sure the snakes find them delicious. Then it's back to work. There's a time crunch. So a time crunch is when you don't have a lot of time to get something done. A front loader rumbles in. Holes are dug and flowers fill wheelbarrows. Here's our repeating phrase. Hiss, shh, goes the sound of the brakes. They're really busy building something. Have you figured out what it is yet? It takes 3 snakes to roll a giant wheel into place. Can you see that giant wheel? That's another really good clue. Have you figured out what they're building? Snakes work together to reach their goal. A backhoe is needed to put in posts. The project is coming to a close. And now here's our repeating phrase. Hiss, shh, goes the sound of the brakes. That looks very familiar. Have you ever seen one of these before? It's time to see what the snakes have built. Oh, now here is that playtime truck again. And there's that truck. But have you figured out what the snakes are building? Let's see. Hiss! Go the happy snakes. They built a playground for all the little snakes to play in. Did you guys guess playground? There were a lot of really fun clues in this book, weren't there? That circle was the merry-go-round. And that was the monkey bars, or should I say snake bars. Hamsters ask if they can play. What will the snakes say? Will the snakes say yes or no? Let's see. They say yes. Shh. And welcome. The end. Isn't that a fun story? Speaking of construction, did you guys know that the Christian County Library is currently building not one, but 2 new library branches in our Clever and Sparta areas? We are so excited to offer these new buildings in these areas, and we cannot wait to get in there and offer more library services. If you want to find out more about the construction process and expansion updates, visit our website at christiancountylibrary.org/expansion, and make sure to follow us on social media where you'll get all the updates on what's going on. Okay, so for my activity today, I thought I would do a really fun song that I used to sing whenever I was little, and my mom taught it to me. It's called Herman the Worm. Has anybody ever heard of this song? See, worms are kind of like snakes, I thought, except, one is a little bit smaller, which would be the worm. In this song, Herman the Worm is going to be eating different things, and I'm going to put those things on this felt board, and we're going to be saying them out loud together. But first, let's go through how to sing Herman the Worm. First, you have to be able to slap your hands on your legs, or you can clap your hands like this. And the song will go like this. I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the Worm. And he was this big. And that's not very big at all. Now, that's how we sing it. Let's go through it one more time so we all are ready to sing the song together. We're going to slap our legs when we say, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum. That's how you chew your bubble gum. And then we're going to play with our yo-yo. Weep, weep. And you're going to pretend like you have a yo-yo in your hand like that. Okay? And then Herman the Worm is going to come along, and you're going to do that by wiggling your arm like a worm. Okay? Is everybody ready? It goes. I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the Worm. And he was this big. And I said, Herman, what happened? And he said that I ate some strawberries. Do you see that right there? Those strawberries. And the next day, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the Worm. And he was this big. That's bigger than yesterday. And I said, Herman, what happened? And he said, I ate one bunch of grapes. And that made him get a lot bigger. But the next day, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the Worm. And he was this big. And I said, Herman, what happened? And he said, I ate 1 potato. Oh, my potato fell. Here's my potato. But the next day, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the worm. And he was this big. And I said, Herman, what happened? And he said, I ate a bunch of carrots. But the next day, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the worm. And he was this big, as big as your hands can fit in the screen, big as this big. And I said, Herman, what happened? Can you guys say that? Herman, what happened? And he said, I ate one whole watermelon. It's a lot of food. Oh, I was getting a little worried by this point. But the next day, I was sitting on my fence post, chewing my bubble gum, playing with my yo-yo, weep, weep, when along came Herman the worm. And he was this big. That's little. And I said, Herman, what happened? And he said, I burped. And what do we say after we burp? And Herman said, excuse me. Isn't that a silly story? It's a silly story and a silly song. Now, at home, you can play this song story anytime you want to. It actually goes really well with my Racing to Read tip today, which is called Play with Letters. Now, Play with Letters is a lot of fun anytime, but what you can do is, if you are playing this fun song and you want to do only letters or only like fruits and vegetables that start with the letter P, you can do that. Or you can only do fruits and vegetables in the grocery store that all start with the letter T. You can do it with colors and with letters. Herman can definitely eat letters. He is a very special worm. All right, guys, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me for virtual story time with the Christian County Library. Please stop in next Friday at 10 a.m. where we will be doing another story time with Miss Alyssa. Have a great night, and I'll see you all later. Bye!